welcome to Morris Modified, and welcome to a custom build review. So this is a mock, so that's something I've created myself, but this is actually the ITS transport from Lego, and this is heavily modified, I would say. So brief description of what I've done: I've created a tandem cockpit, so there's now 2 pilots in there. By doing that, I've had to extend a lot and actually make it a little bit longer. I've added a crew quarters or observation deck, which is actually accessible by removing the top roof. And as you can see, there's probably, if you own your own ITS transport, you can probably see a few differences already. So again, because I did build this a few months ago, not knowing I was going to do a YouTube channel, I do not have the original box art, so I'll have to find some images of what it used to look like and post them next to the actual video and the photo. But as for what I can do though, I can show you what I have done to it. So if you have your ITS transport in front of you, you'll probably be able to compare and see that this whole section here is actually wider by about 2 studs, and it's lower as well. You can also see that I've actually smoothed out a lot of this and added a bit more detail, a bit more, makes it look a little bit more aggressive with these mandibles. And I've actually added all these slope pieces here as well, so looks a bit nicer, I guess. Same here with the rear, with these slope pieces up here and here. And there's probably plenty that I'm missing here, as I haven't got the original in front of me. But if you have your ITS transport in front of you, you can probably see that there are a lot of changes I've made to this. So starting with the forward section, you can probably see a few of the changes I've already made. Now I can't quite remember whether it came with a turret or not, but if it hadn't, I've added 2 turrets here at the top, one towards the center section, and there's one underneath that I'll go through when I flip the spacecraft over. And being that this spacecraft wasn't actually in any of the movies, any of the TV shows, I kind of decided to change it from a transport to more of a tracking spacecraft, so hence why there's a fair few antennas here and there all over the spacecraft, especially towards the rear. So I've added greebling up here. I've changed a fair few pieces up here as well. There used to be smooth pieces. I've added a few little things here and there. It's not completely done yet. There are still a few things I want to add to it, but sort of at a stage where I'm happy with it at the moment. I added this slope piece here, raised it to add this antenna dome or radar dome. I added this part here as another antenna, maybe even a refueling sort of nozzle, not sure yet. I'm sort of still deciding what I want that to be. I added another tracking antenna on each side, so I used the steering wheel piece and repurposed it for a antenna style sort of piece there. And the whole forward section I actually had to pull apart completely in order to add 2 seats at the front. So this has actually been moved completely forward and widened about 2 or 3 studs each side. So it has enabled me to fit 2 pilots. And you can probably see a few control panels and bits and pieces I've added. So to start with, you can see a communications style console piece there and a flight stick just forward of it, and it's the same on, exactly the same on the other side. You can see a throttle quadrant right there in the center, and that can actually be moved forward and back, as you can see. It's actually got 3 of these clear transparent 1x2s, and they're supposed to represent sort of monitors that you see throughout the Star Wars galaxy, where it's sort of like a 3D image of what's ahead of them or on the battlefield, and it's actually got 3 of them. So we'll be able to take a closer look when I remove the side pods, but you can probably see the other one down there just ahead of the actual flight stick. And you can also see the transparent pieces I have along the side there to represent more monitors and, I guess, window pieces, you could say. So I'll just quickly pull the pilots out, and you can actually remove these 2 side cavities here to get more access to the inside. So those 2 side cavities are just attached by those two Technic pins right there, and those 2 clear pieces were just to represent windows and another monitor on that side there. So seeing now from the inside, you can see the pilots in a little bit better. There's a joystick, or the flight stick, and there's another monitor. And I will just remove the pilot. You can kind of just see this, the actual standard monitor it comes with, but removing the pilots we might see that a bit better. So they come out as easy as the original, except now there's two of them. So you can see I also made up some seats and a sort of throttle control quadrant there, just one single that moves back and forth. And I'm not sure if we're going to be able to see it, but there's two monitors in there that you can only just see. So hard to see, but you can see part of it just there. So I added a little bit of detail. I like to add detail to the cockpits, just to add to the imagination. And yeah, nothing too drastic, but it did require a fair bit of building. So as I said, this whole section here was built up. I think it originally ended around here, and these originally sat around here somewhere, but now they're all the way down here at the front. And it's actually, I've actually lowered this whole forward section just a slight amount. So we'll leave those and put those to the side for now, as well as the two pilots. Moving on to the actual cargo bay. So not much has actually changed in here. In fact, I didn't change anything at all. So it's still original, it's still exactly how it was. I just wanted to sort of add a bit more to the rear and front end. So I was pretty happy with this cargo area. It allows you to store quite a fair bit, so it didn't actually need any modification whatsoever from me. So moving to the rear now. So you can probably already see a fair bit of modification. So to start with, this whole section here has been built up. So I removed the small 4x8 I think piece that used to sit there with a little dome on the end. I actually removed the entire amount of the rear end and rebuilt it from scratch. So this top mount sort of section here actually opens up, and it's supposed to be sort of a mock-up docking station, but it also allows me to put an astromech droid in there. And as I said in my earlier videos, I like to add astromech droids into everything I build. So he sort of sits in there snug, and I guess yeah, the reason I add astromechs is because they're mechanics and I'm a mechanic. So in every sort of ship and mock I build, I always add an astromech sort of socket, and there he is. So that he can be removed, and that closes just like so. There's a rotational radar dish here, a few more antenna, and another sort of early warning system there. Now we'll just go into the interior. So to access the interior, just simply lift this up, and there are all the panels, controls, and a few little weapons carry. So I like to think that these are beds or cushions, and also a walkway to the next section as well. And I'll just place that back on, and that's it, nice and concealed. So that's about it from the outside. I'll flip it over now, and as I said, just one turret here in the bottom, those radar dishes on each side, and I changed up the back a little bit, sort of wanted to smooth it out. And I added a little drone, so this thing would just pop out, and it's supposed to be sort of a little reconnaissance drone I made up. So nothing too flash, just something to add to a bit of imagination there. And he just sits in the center right there. So yeah, that's about it for my ITS transport. So just to recap, this whole section here, as well as the engines, has been reconfigured. These outside engines used to be in the center here underneath, but I've moved them to the outside to gain way for these observation windows. And this whole section here has been rebuilt. So yeah, floor, the lot, it's all been rebuilt from scratch, and I feel like I'm pretty happy with it. So a figure can actually stand in there upright, and as you will see when I close the viewing deck, the figure is right there, so just at eye level, and I like to think they can see out there as well. So yeah, I'm just nerding out a little bit to this. I love redesigning and sort of letting my imagination run wild, especially when it comes to sci-fi and ships. And as I said, I will be reviewing this thing soon, so this is my MOCs. I've spent a lot of time. I've pulled this apart, built it back up, pulled it apart, and I am now absolutely happy with where it's at. So this will be my next review. It's not actually Lego, it's Mega Constructs, but it's probably, as you can see, worth reviewing, as I really like it. So anyway, I appreciate you all staying to the end of this video, and I look forward to posting up more of my MOCs and more of my custom builds. I hope that, I know it wasn't probably helpful, as I couldn't really go into detail about what I've actually done and how I've done it, but I do hope to actually, as I build and as I modify these craft, document them. So as you may have seen with the General Grievous Starfighter, which I'll post up a link in this video, I did a speed build of the modifications as I modified it, and I hope to actually, now that I've got a better handle on editing, I hope to actually pause it at certain sections, slow it down, and actually go through what I'm doing. And that way, if any of you would like to do these modifications to your own models and sets and whatnot, you can. So anyway, if you'd like to see the modification on this craft here, General Grievous the Starfighter, I'll post a link in this video. And as for the next modification or speed modification video, I shall finally start the Imperial Shuttle. So I did look at the Imperial Shuttle Tidarium set for this one, or might have been the one before the UCS, but anyway, the Tidarium is definitely a more detailed version of this. So it looked like they pretty much just took the Tidarium and stripped it to parts and made it cheaper. So in all honesty, I probably should just get that set and modify that one, but it's now around $400 Australian, so it's quite an expensive set now, and I've got this and this has problems, so I guess I should try and fix this set and see if people want to fix their own as well. So anyway, I'll be posting a video of this very shortly, hopefully within the next 2 weeks, depending on how long it takes me to actually modify this set, and yeah, I'll catch you then.